You have to put yourself. I have dementia pretty much, so I can't. I can't remember shit. But I was asked by a few people, and definitely not Amy. Amy did not want it. Amy doesn't. To me to talk about the Amish life and the beliefs and the bullshit that they're up to. No one is immune. People find they see the Amish and they say, "Oh, it's a novelty. Aren't they cute in their little dresses and their hats? Aren't they silly with their horse and buggy?" They're up to no good. And the more the English give them business, the worse they're going to get. You can hear the neighbor's goats going. I can't control them. Anyway, like I said, I can't remember who wanted me to talk on it, but I'll leave this live up so I can refer to them when I figure out who wanted me to talk about it when I see them or find it, figure out who it was. I'm okay. I got a snotty nose. Not a snotty nose. I have I like nasal drops, nasal spray. And so I nasal sprayed my nose before people can hear me. It's not an interesting topic. Not everyone's going to go Amish because people are way too obsessed with their possessions. And that's a no. No, 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 no. With them. I planted radishes. I planted like purple ones. Root, that's good because not too many can rock upon it. But how about a cape? You have to be able to rock a cape to not look like an idiot, but you still look like an idiot in a cape. So, what's the beliefs? The Amish are an offset of the Anabaptists. Christians, we believe in God. I'm not Amish anymore. They believe in God. And they live off with the Glassenheit. Glassenheit means serenity. And to stay away from the Hakmat. The Hakmat is like um, arrogance, excessive pride. That's what they stay away from. Now, people think that there's like a book that has all our rules in it, or a poster or something. No, it's called the Ordung. Now, what the Ordung means is unwritten. It's not. It's unwritten. But the Ordung, Yeah, of course the Mennonites, they're OGs. Hey, chick. So what the Ordung is like their beliefs and not laws, but rules. But it's unwritten, so it's it could be changing from area to area. Even though people think the Amish are so together and they have all their shit organized, it's not. It's a fucking fly by night bullshit. So I know, like a lot of churches have like a rabbi, or they have a preacher, or a person that speaks. Okay, I guess I should explain this too. The Amish don't have a church. They don't have a temple, a church. All the services are performed in the homes or the barns. So there's about, depending on the size, there's about 3 ministers, a deacon, and a bishop. But being a minister is not like a good job or something to be proud of, or it doesn't make you special at all. But what they do is whoever feels like it, whoever just says, I feel like it, I have the I have something to say, that they can be a minister. Now, when we're baptized, when the boys are baptized, they cannot be baptized unless they are willing to become a minister. So, throughout their life, if they're called upon to be a minister, they have to be a minister. And it's kind of like a super election, but there's no women or children allowed. And the men get together and kind of vote. It's also silliness. And for us to people say, "Oh, they're Amish, they're going to heaven." Assurance of salvation is pride, and pride is not allowed. The Amish do not circumcise the boys. There is no guarantee that you're going to heaven. Just like, oh, just because I'm following the Ordung, I'm going to heaven. No. Your whole goal is to prove yourself. Okay. And so these are weird things that I didn't know until I left and I found out what the real world's like, and that the Amish are fucking nutty. They are superstitious and they have crappy, weird beliefs. God fearing Christians, but they are superstitious. When you're pregnant with a child, you don't go to funerals because the bad spirits might get the baby. Make that make sense. people always kind of goof on the Amish kids because they have fucking shaggy ass hair, and it's because you don't cut a baby's hair until after they're a year old, because if you do, something's gonna happen to that child. That's what they think. And a lot of times, after they do give birth, they bury the placenta in the ground, and it's supposed to bring salvation. Not salvation, but it's supposed to be looked good upon. And I also, hi Dana, I also thought that dreams were predictions, and that's what they think. If you have a distressing, troubling nightmare dream, you have to discuss it with somebody, because it's an omen. That's cuckoo beliefs. That's cuckoo thinking. You know, you see the lucky horseshoe symbol. That's an Amish thing. A horseshoe upside down brings good luck. Also, Azuka, you you see Amish around. If you ever see on the barns these weird, like, geometric, colorful shapes that are painted on the barn, those are for hexes, so they don't get hexed. Well, that's their keep shit away, keep bad things away. Because how can you have all your faith in Christ, but still worry about witchcraft and bad spirits and boogie monsters? Doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. And when you're sick, they cut an onion and put it under the bed, and that cut onion is supposed to take away the sickness. That's just fucking stupid. But I believed all this stuff. I did, until I lived life and figured out that onions aren't magical. They're very weird. They're weird little people. And I see these Amish all over YouTube and all over social media, getting their picture taken, posing. That should not be allowed. There used to be no photos. And now they're posing and talking on social media. And the whole thing is, worldly influences corrupt spiritual purity. That's the whole motto. Worldly influences, and they pick and choose what is worldly and what's not. But technology influences corruption and spiritual purity. That's their whole motto. That sums them up. So now, when people say you're in a cult, no, I don't feel that I was in a cult. I don't believe the Amish are a cult. But see, Azuka, the religion is not that crazy. It's just a Christian, uh, quote unquote Christian religion, and the don't take showers is a person to person basis. It's a personal thing. If you can take cold water, you can clean. You can jump in the bath. I showered, but on just me, and cults. Okay, no, it's not a cult because cults recruit. The Amish don't recruit. You're not going to see them knocking on your door. No, the Amish don't shave. Some have outdoor like showers, rudimentary ones. But you'd be surprised what they have now. They have gas stoves that run off of batteries, electric stoves that run off of batteries, refrigerators that run off a battery. Everything they have run off a battery. Therefore, it's kosher to them. Exactly. It's you can take it or you can't take it. It's all personal. I mean, there's personally people that are slobs, and there's personally, but like they say, cleanliness is next to godliness. But yeah, Amish people do have a scent to them, and the English find it off-putting. But you know what that scent is? It's called hard work. No, the Amish aren't claiming Miller. There's no alcohol. He is way too into his alcohol and his media and his TVs and his movies. Yeah, they do. And what I would do is I would take a cold shower and rinse myself off, and then I would boil water, take a bath, and then wash my dresses with the hot water. We weren't cool. We didn't live by a running spring that we could just wash with. But I tell you, you will not see an Amish person with a stained clothes ever. So they have some kind of cleanliness, or they're aware of hygiene. And then people always how no soap. We usually make our soap, and it's not soap, but it's pretty much. Well, it was never 107 in Ohio. I have no problem with a cold shower. It makes your breasts perky. But the men with the weird beards, the funny beards, that is their wedding ring. That is, a man cannot grow a beard unless he is betrothed. So all the Amish guys that you see that are clean shaven, they're not married. That's how you tell. Because jewelry is not worn. And they frown upon going home. Well, I've yet to come across one that hasn't grown a beard. You usually have to have Native American blood in you to not be able to grow facial hair. The homosexuals, if they showed any homosexual tendencies, then they've been excommunicated and they're on their own. You can't be gay and be an Amish. I mean, you could be gay and be Amish, but then if you display or show or use those homosexual feelings and tendencies, you're out. You act a little nutty and maybe talk to yourself, or maybe a little bit of schizophrenia or whatever. You're weird. You're something's wrong with you. You're possessed. You're out. Was it last year on the vacation? The Amish mother got in a golf cart and drove her children into the lake and drowned them because God told her to. Now that was a fucking crack up. She went nuts. She went nuts, and there's no mental health resources with the Amish, so she went nuts on vacation, killed her kids. Yeah, hexes. Um, they just had stupid superstitions, you know, like you can't cut your baby's hair. Um, you hear a owl hoot next to your window, someone's gonna die. Um, a bird pecks on the window, someone's gonna die. A dog howls at night, someone's gonna die. And shit gets stuck in your brain. They now, I guess this will be doxing myself, but I'm a Yoder. What else am I be? There's the Yoders. There's the Shorts and Troopers. There's the Bon Swearingens. There's Yoder there. Yoder is a very, but they do care about because that they go nuts. I mean, and they go nuts, and then they're like, "What the fuck? That's not normal." Or maybe, you know, there's a thing called postpartum depression, and although new mothers are Usually they'll have a child come in from another house that will help a new mother for like the first month or so. But depression, you can't have it. You can't you can't slack. You can't just lay in bed and woe is me. Shit needs to get done. And if it doesn't get done, yeah, it's black magic and hexes and shit. That's why they have those geometric symbols on there. And an owl hooting, they think that someone's gonna die. And pregnant people can't go to funerals because of the bad spirits. Well, why are the bad spirits there? Who's got the bad spirits? I mean, they don't think on their fucking bullshit. No, they're witches and bad people, bad goblin ghouls. And when this shit is told to you and told to you and told to you, and you hear nothing else, you believe it. Just like not to use public bathrooms. That stuck with me for the longest time. And I still, when I'm out, I can't use public bathroom. But you know what, Azuka? There's a not good people in every walk of life, every religion, every race, every gender. There's not good people. Just because you're Amish doesn't mean you're a good person. That doesn't make you. You don't get an automatic good person button. Because if you think about it and you get away from there and you really think on it, it's toxic as fuck. But the stigma of, oh, I escaped the Amish, I had to be hidden, run away from, that's all bullshit. If you don't want to be there, they don't want you there. Simple fact. Well, like if you have a growth on your skin, like a wart or a mole or something, you're supposed to rub raw meat onto it and then bury it in the ground. And when it rots in the ground, that's when your thing is supposed to go away. Tim, you think that there's brainwashing? There's brainwashing everywhere. Oh, the Church of Scientology, they recruit. The Church of Scientology sues people. The Church of Scientology hurts people. So I've heard. I don't know if that's Scientology, but when you don't know any different, you tend to stay with what you know, and that's what where it gets them. It takes a lot of selfishness and being self-absorbed to leave on your own because that's all you know, and that's easy and that's safe, and that's why they stay. I don't know anything about Scientology. I just know that it's money based. But I, for a while, I was really interested in the Heaven's Gate quote unquote cult and what happened to them because they truly believed. It wasn't like Jonestown where they fucking were coerced and kind of forced to take themselves out. They willingly and look forward to it. I really like those Nikes, but not even every church has brainwashing. So much has brainwashing, and it has to be if some are are easily influenced better than others. I love the Heaven's Gate cult because he just thought it up. They start with the now. See that's not the thing with the Amish. You aren't baptized until you're about 16 to 18 years old. You have to be of sound mind before you can agree to be baptized. David Koresh was a pimp, but his his was all sexual and shit. He was dropping his seed everywhere, and there was a lot of child. Heaven's Gate, they didn't believe in kids. Kids were not allowed where they're going. There was no children there. And the poor men, the leader, he was had homosexual tendencies, and he had it for one of the members, and that went wrong, and so they all went down to Mexico and got their nuts cut off, so they couldn't have temptation. But they were hold on, stupid that motorcycle. That's the sex offender that lives down the street. I'm not really. I haven't really looked into the what went on in Waco. That's I probably will someday look into it. But I'm more versed on the Heaven's Gate and the Jonestown. I have always had this dream that the women that are still in jail, prison for the Manson murders, finally said, "You know what? Charlie didn't tell us shit. We just decided to do it on our own." And Charlie Manson was an okay guy. You'll find them. You'll find the the mental Amish. They'll be either shunned or they'll be ex Amish because you have to keep your house clean. Can't have a dirty mind. And I think on it, everybody has an excuse these days. Oh, I'm autistic. That's why I'm a spaz. That's my excuse. I can remember now that the fucking some goofy Amish and they were probably autistic. No, they don't unalive anybody. They don't believe in. They're pacifists. They don't believe in police. They don't have. They don't go to war. They're pacifists. They built it in 2 days, Tim. And there's a lot of aspects of the Amish that are, I say, that are good. They don't have insurance. They don't have bank accounts. They don't have credit cards. Everything. And when something happens to one family, the whole community helps. There's no payment. It's just that they're there, and you know that. That's their. Everyone has the right to defend themselves, but they also have the right to defend themselves, and they also have the right to choose if they want to defend themselves. Now, people are so enamored with the Amish's ability to in carpentry, to build things, to make things. They got nothing else better to do. That's their job. They're gonna do it right. They do it right. Yeah, Jody is she's a Mormon killer. She had the crazy eyes. What is it that I think, Tim? What is it that I think? I think a lot of things. And I'm not always right. As a matter of fact, I am dumb. I am not ignorant, but I am dumb. Casey Anthony is my favorite killer. Well, I wouldn't say because they use lumber and lumber burns. I take a barnuminium any day. My favorite killer is that he killed himself and then he killed um, the designer Andrew Cunanan. He went cuckoo and he killed was it Versace? Yeah, yeah, but wood burns. You think they would figure it out by now? And their houses would burn. When shit goes, and they're always got open fires, and shit happens, and they fucking have no common sense because, you think you'd have a fire extinguisher there because you're living in a wooden box and you have open fire, cooking, heating up things, and they wonder why their fucking houses burn up. If that was only true, that was only true because I have seen so many burn up. They instead of going out, they hear a noise. Instead of going out with their flashlight, they go out there with a fucking gas lamp and leave it, and everything goes up. Yeah, you even put the horse. And that's the thing I don't like when these people say, "Oh, the Amish have what do they call them? Our backyard breeders. Oh, the Amish are mean to their horses. They're mean to their animals. Their horses are hi Charlie. The horses are their life. Their horses are their work. Their horses are their transportation. Their horses are their connections with others. They're not going to mistreat horses. They're horses. When you see those skinny, old, run-down Belgian horses that are at the auctions, I'll tell you why they're like that. And it's not because the Amish did it. When a horse is too old or a horse is hurt and lame and can't do his work anymore, it is of no use to them. And so they're humanely put down. Well, there's horse traders that come to the Amish and say, hey, don't put your horse down. We'll give you some money and we'll take the horse off your land so you don't have to deal with the body, anything, the feed or anything. We'll give you some money for it. So the Amish sell their horse to them. And it's the horse brokers, traders that bring the horses to the auctions skinny and beat down. Because if it was up to the Amish, they were putting the horse down. But the horse brokers want to make money, and so they pay the Amish a little bit of money for the horse, and they bring him to their place, and that's when they don't feed him well, and that's when they're, and then you see all these channels on YouTube, oh, we rescued this Amish horse, we rescued the Amish or something to them. No, they're not mean to them, because, like I said, it's their livelihood. Yeah, I wish they would give them a horse special place. But it's I mean, how did the horse get to the fucking auction? In a horse trailer. It wasn't the Amish that brought it. And with the backyard breeding dogs, they would not do it if there wasn't a market. Because Amish sure shit don't care if they have a registered dog, a certain breed dog. That's being proud, and you can't do that. If they didn't have a market, the English did not buy their dogs, they wouldn't have them. The English give the Amish the business. You know, here in California, we have laws. I can't make hamburgers and go sell them on the corner because we have food laws. Why are the Amish exempt of that? Because they have stands everywhere you look, hawking their shit that they have. Okay, I think that's my long enough rant. I've gone through the superstitious Amish. I've gone through the Amish that are not going to be around very long. They are not good people. Well, Mexicans, but they have we have the elote guy. The elote guy has like a little bicycle thing that he with a bell and it goes ding ding. He sells the elotes, but he's on wheels. The Amish have stands, and the cops are stopping there getting jams and butter and fruit and vegetables. I I love elotes. For dinner, I made albondigas because I was hungover, and albondigas are supposed to be good for hangovers. I just think I predict I won't be here in 50 years, but mark my words, young people, the Amish are not going to be what you think they are today. They're going a whole different level. We dealt with the horse broker boyfriend. Oh, well, horse breakers. You can't bring a horse over state lines without documentation. Yeah, exactly. Datsuns, those K cars, those Kmart cars. I mean, but they are. I don't eat at McDonald's. I see on every social media platform, I see an Amish person. Make that make sense. How is that possible? What's going on? I watch horse auctions streamed on YouTube, run by the Amish. How are they plugging in their microphones? Make that make sense. The horses they're selling have ribbons tied all through the hair and they flow. Make that make sense. I don't eat McDonald's. I do like their french fries, but and don't think that the Amish are healthy because if you look at the women, especially the women that are in their 50s and up, they're all big women because they don't count calories. They don't watch. There's nothing. There's no diet shit. Everything's got. There isn't any Amish in California. There there's German Baptist in Modesto. I think there's Mennonite in Modesto. No, I came here. They they get fat when they get older. Yeah, no, I came from and when I left Amish. I came to California and never looked back. Mystery white meat. Okay, everybody. I'm Thank you for listening to my nonsensical stuff. I still think Richard is MIA because his butt got hurt in anal August and he can't recover. Ew, stop it, baby chickens. That's disgusting. Baby chickens. I am going on vacation. Beaks and all. They grind up the beaks. Speaking of chickens, I cracked an egg today and it was a triple yolk. There was 3 yolks in the one egg. Fucking, is that an omen? The Asians, they eat anything. I see them put any kind of seafood in their mouth, and I see them sucking on tentacles. I see them crunching on claws. I don't. That's disgusting. Piss on a dead rabbit. Piss on a rabbit and see if you're pregnant. Oh no, I don't. I never. When I raised chickens, I never. I always raised exhibition poultry, so they weren't producing productives. They weren't. I am. I am horse free for the first time in 20 years, 23 years. I'm without a horse because I stopped and thought about it and says I'm not hauling a horse across the country when there's horses there already there. No, I'll get a horse when I get moved. The thing is I didn't have any personal horses. I kept taking on these the fucking rescue horses and shit, and I didn't have a personal horse except for Klaus. But as a horse to ride, that was my personal horse. No, they were just horses that would come and go. And I haven't gone yet because I'm waiting for something before I go. I'm waiting and trying to get everything done before I go. I don't know. I've never been to Kmart. But anyway, everybody, thanks for listening to me. This is all like a crazy person's rant. And Mennonites are everywhere. Mennonites are a lot of fun. I think when I move, I'm gonna become a Mennonite. Anyway, thank you everybody, and maybe I'm still learning how to do things by myself, and maybe next time I'll drop links or I'll pin a link or I'll make nods, all kinds of stuff.